It's time once again for the facts. Na fact man. Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. Robert Remus, aka Sergeant Slaughter from the WWE, never served in the military, despite his character's gimmick. He received several Vietnam War draft deferments and even opposed the war, often protesting and demonstrating within anti-war movements. Snails and slugs shoot arrow-like love darts during mating, often impaling each other. The first photograph of Earth from outer space is 78 years old. It was taken by V2 number 13, a modified German ballistic missile. The V stands for Vergeltungswaffe, which means vengeance weapon. There are tiny hairs on zucchini plants called trichomes, tiny little bristles that can actually hurt your hands if they're not washed away properly. In 1967, the whiskey brand Canadian Club did a hide a case advertising campaign where they hid 25 cases of their whiskey in exotic locations around the world. There are still 9 cases still hidden and one being above the Arctic Circle. The Bannister effect is when a barrier previously thought to be unachievable is broken. A mental shift happens, enabling many others to break past it. It was named after Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile. The recipe engagement chicken got its name after Kathy Suter, and later several of her co-workers received engagement proposals after serving it to their boyfriends. Orcas, or killer whales, comes from the name Orcanus, which means of the kingdom of the dead or belonging to Orcus. Kilmarnock, a town in Scotland, celebrates Halloween on the last Friday of the month. The B-29 bomber program was the most expensive project within World War II, costing roughly 50% more than the entire Manhattan Project. The Las Vegas Strip is not actually located in the city of Las Vegas. It's actually located in the unincorporated Clark County, not within Las Vegas city limits. Girls of the Kayan tribe start wearing neck rings around 5 years old. Over the years, the coil is replaced by a longer one and more turns are added. The rings then stretch their necks to a length of about 15 inches or 38 centimeters. During the Napoleonic Wars, French cavalry developed a technique called sabrage, or sabrage in English, which is opening a champagne bottle with a saber. The wielder slides the saber along the body seam of the bottle to the lip to break the top of the neck away. The first message sent from the beaches of Normandy on D-Day was sent in Comanche from code talker Private First Class Larry Sapiti. His message was, "We made a good landing, we landed in the wrong place." Operation Cottage was intended to seize the last enemy stronghold on North American soil from Japanese occupiers in 1943. By the time the island was declared secure, over 300 Allied soldiers were laying dead or wounded. There were no Japanese casualties, and they abandoned the island 3 weeks prior. The first practical roadside breathalyzer was used in 1931, and it was called the Drunkometer. No member of the band The Police had naturally blonde hair. They started dyeing their hair for a Wrigley's commercial. The kamikaze attacks during the Battle of Okinawa were so intense that Admiral Spruance had to transfer flagships twice. First from the USS Indianapolis to USS New Mexico, and then to the USS New Jersey. Nancy Sinatra was incredibly nervous recording the theme song to the movie You Only Live Twice. Producer John Barry had to make the final version of the song by combining her vocals from 25 different takes. The Sirtaki, the folk dance most commonly associated with Greece, was originally choreographed for a 1964 film. Silent Hill's art director Masashiro Ito drew inspiration for the iconic characters like Pyramid Head from the haunting, surreal paintings of British artist Francis Bacon. Ice volcanoes exist. Formerly known as cryovolcanoes, they erupt water, gas, and hydrocarbons. The policeman John Parker, who was assigned to guard the entrance to Lincoln's box at Ford's Theater, was not immediately fired after he was assassinated. He was even assigned to guard Mary Todd Lincoln afterwards, though she quickly dismissed him. He was only fired in 1868 for sleeping on duty. Since the late 1950s, aerospace engineers have used the term unobtainium when referring to unusual or costly materials, or when theoretically considering a material perfect for their needs in all respects, except that it does not exist. During the 1867 Royal Tour of Australia, there were several riots, where several people were killed, a drowning, Alfred Hall burning down, and even Prince Alfred getting wounded. Top Gear's international popularity was due largely to early episodes episodes being shared illegally on the Final Gear forum when the show was only available in the UK. When the forum's founder passed away, Jeremy Clarkson posted a tweet acknowledging how important he had been to the show's success. Nearly 1 billion adults worldwide are estimated to have sleep apnea, with most cases going undiagnosed. The Olympic Games used to be sponsored by and partnered with tobacco companies. The Pacific beetle cockroach produces a superfood milk that is full of protein-dense crystals, which are packed with essential amino acids, sugars, and healthy fat. It's actually been suggested as a protein supplement. However, it's very difficult to extract and not yet a viable food source. The real question is, would you try it? Toby Hooper hoped the original cut of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre would get a PG rating due to the lack of visible gore. It received an X rating, only receiving an R once several minutes were cut out. Certain theaters were told by police not to show the film or they could actually face morality charges. When the mathematician Évariste Galois was still in his teens, he was able to solve a problem that had been open for 350 years. Then, at the age of 20, for reasons that remain obscure, he fought in a duel and died from the wounds that he suffered. During the World War II Battle of the Atlantic, the British Merchant Navy had a higher casualty rate in proportion to the armed forces, and their wages were halted as soon as their vessel was hit by a torpedo. The invariant right theory states that most people will turn to their right when entering a store. It's theorized that people unconsciously favor turning right because most people are right-handed. Samuel Sam Houston, the first and third president of the Republic of Texas, who served as governor of both Tennessee and Texas, and for whom the city of Houston in Texas is named, was descended from the Houston Baronets and Clan Houston in Scotland. He was also a member of the Cherokee tribe. Life magazine once printed a guide on how to tell Japs from the Chinese. The last public execution by guillotine in France was in 1939. In fact, Christopher Lee was in France at the time, and he went along to watch. In 1984, Motorhead played so loud that the ceiling of the venue that they were playing at cracked and the plaster started coming off, leading to the show having to be canceled. Meow meow! Hi, my boy. You wanna say hi to everybody? You're meowing so much. Now it's a kitty break. Hi, Ned. This is my other kitty. This is my boy, Ned. Healthy, happy, safe Ned. He's the sweetest kitty, I swear. He's always been very, very loving ever since I got him as a little kitten. Jumping on everybody, Pooh. Okay, quick stretch, and then we're back to the facts. Ready? Baby Ned, doot, 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 baby Ned. Okay, I love you, Pooh. Mwah. Kitty glitter, man. Kitty glitter everywhere. It's worth it, though. Waiuli is an alternative to rubber trees. It has a rubber content of 3 to 7% and can be grown in hot desert climates requiring a fraction of the water and fertilizer that rubber trees do. It's also weed, insect, and disease resistant. It was used by the US in World War II. Reindeer eyeballs turn blue in the winter to help them see at lower light levels. They're golden colored in the summer. No other mammals are known to have this ability. In 2013, Vulture magazine named Mazzy Star's Fade Into You the most overused song in film and TV. Most US states have a state fossil, with the first two officially designated in 1967. Stephen Lee was one of 3 anti-apartheid activists who escaped from Pretoria prison in 1979. In 1980, the warden in charge that night was put on trial for aiding their escape. Lee wrote a letter to a South African newspaper proclaiming his innocence. The warden was eventually acquitted. According to a study from UW and reported by NPR, bad diets are responsible for more deaths than smoking. The study covered 195 countries and ranked their diet. Japan, France, and Spain had healthier diets, whereas the US is ranked 43rd. 800 million people eat too little, whereas 1.9 billion people eat too much. Both Catholic and Protestant Bibles include 27 books in the New Testament, but Protestant Bibles have only 39 books in the Old Testament, whereas Catholic Bibles have 46. The 7 books included in Catholic Bibles are the Tobit, Judith, 1 and 2 Maccabees, Wisdom, Sirach, and Baruch. There is archaeological evidence that Vikings reached Baghdad, the center of the Islamic Empire. In 1842, Charles Dickens visited the White House. He went to the front door and knocked, but no one answered, so he just let himself in. Miracle-Gro, the water-soluble fertilizer, was developed after Horace Hagedorn met nurseryman Otto Stern and learned of Stern's troubles shipping plants in 1944. They hired O. Wesley Davidson, a Rutgers University professor, to develop the fertilizer. Many countries do not grant full freedom of panorama. Photographs of publicly visible buildings may infringe copyright and may not be shared, especially commercially, without permission. Diamond Dallas Page, or DDP, sued Jay-Z over the diamond hand gesture that had been trademarked by DDP and won. In London, Big Ben has a microphone always next to the bell so that it can play live the bongs at the beginning of the UK news. Also, because of the speed of the sound, if you're listening to the analog radio while standing at the foot of the tower, you'll hear the bongs on the radio before you hear them in real life. Hey, thanks for watching. Click either of the links on screen now to watch more. Remember to follow me on Twitch because I'm live every day, link is in the description, and consider becoming a member for more exclusive content and 24-hour advanced access to all new videos. I'll see you next time.